Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our program tonight. And we are back in session. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another Mom's Night In. It is Tuesday night, the first Tuesday of the month of April. Happy April, Markeisha. So listen, everyone, we are laughing because it has been a night. And we always say if it's a night like this, it's going to be a good conversation. So you might want to invite some guests. You might, if you know some moms that, maybe going through, maybe need some encouragement, send them a link and pass this on. If you're watching the recording, send this to them because we're going to have a good show, because we literally up to 7:59 we were having some technical difficulties and not sure if we were going to start on time, but we are here. To God be the glory. Hey, Markeisha. I messaged Markeisha and was like, listen, if we can get this to work, you're going to be my guest tonight. We're going to talk about motherhood. And she's like, we need to pray.
No, let's pray. Let's pray. Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole. It's our Iceland buddy. Hey, Nicole. How you doing?
My GHS alum.
Yeah, shout out to Girls High. So welcome to another Mom's Night In. Like I said, this is April. We are zooming through the season. We have one more show before we break for our summer. Mm-hmm. And as I'm watching the intro, I'm like, we need to maybe do a Where Are They Now to close out May. And some of these moms we haven't talked to in a while, just to see how everybody's doing. We might need an update. So we got to think about that. Maybe a season finale, because we used to do that. Like every season we would do a Where Are They Now? So maybe we'll do like our past alum and meet them. And I just saw Rebecca from our adoption.
I did. I saw you post.
Faith was from our adoption and our abuse. I met them last weekend. I saw them in Lancaster. So hi, Faith. Hi, Rebecca. If you're watching, it was so good to see you. And I love hanging out with our Faithful Moms alum. I love catching up with them and hearing their testimonies and seeing how everybody's doing. So maybe we'll reach out and get some updates from some people that I've been talking to. Like just come back and let everybody know what's going on with you. So
I like it.
Again, if you are watching, let us know where you're watching from. Go ahead and put it in the chat. We have a great show tonight. Mm-hmm. A longtime friend of mine. When I saw her a couple months, maybe it was longer than a couple months ago, but she's like, I have to be on your show. I want to come on and just talk about motherhood and just some of the lessons that she learned. And I'm like, yeah, and we haven't been able to connect, and we finally got her on. So when I tell you this is a working mother, she is at work now, having issues, trying to get on from her job. So we're so thankful that she is joining us. And we already know she has a word. She has some wisdom to share, and we are just excited to talk about motherhood. We are Faithful Moms, and obviously we say we're not all moms here. We minister to everyone, but tonight we are taking special consideration and attention to our moms. A lot of times, we have such a heavy load, and a lot of times, as Paris is going to share, sometimes we struggle in silence, and we need to, I think, talk about it, make sure people know that they're not by themselves, they're not alone, but there is help out there. So we hope that we say something that is encouraging, whether you're a new mom, whether you're a seasoned mom, whether you want to be a mom, doesn't matter. We invite you to join. So again, but if you do know somebody who may be struggling, who maybe needs some encouragement, especially in their motherhood, please invite them out today. Mm-hmm. So before we get started, I do want to share, we did get and we love just sharing in terms of what's going on in our community. So we did get some information from True Covenant Worship Center here in New Jersey. They are having a health and wellness fair on April the 25th from 10 to 2 p.m. So if you are available and would love to join them, they are having free health screenings, free food, vaccines, insurance services, social services, and fun for the entire family. So again, April 25th from 10 to 2. The address is 4415 Marlton Pike in Pennsauken, New Jersey. So that's at True Covenant Worship Center. So you are more than welcome. We'll put that flyer on our website as well. So, and anyone who needs more information. But again, welcome to Faith-Filled Moms. We are the space where real life meets real faith. And we just love to be able to show encouragement. If you visit our website, if you haven't gone there already, faithfilledmoms.org, where we have over 23 topics of conversations of blogs that we've had over the last 5 years. We talk about loss, we talk about divorce, we talk about illness, whether it's child or mom, we talk about blended families, abuse, autism, adoption, like we just said, premature birth. There's so many. And we often say you or somebody you know has probably gone through something, one of our topics. So we know that if you're ever looking for encouragement, if you're ever feeling down, if you ever just need an uplift, remember faithfulmoms.org. Head over to our website, read some of the blogs, watch some of the conversations. It is sure to be an encouragement to you.
A lot of good information.
Yes. And we also have some Christian mental health providers, because we all need sometimes to just talk to someone and to get some help. So we have a resource page for Christian mental health providers. So if you know you're looking for a therapist, please head over to our website, and we have some really, really good faith-filled therapists there that can help you. And so if this is your first time with us, you may say, well, who is Faith-Filled Moms? Faith-Filled Moms, we are a community of women that provide encouraging and safe space for complex topics, sharing biblical and emotional support, hope, and encouragement and inspiration to women facing difficult seasons in life. So I'm going to open us up in prayer. Our topic for tonight, again, if you don't know, it is motherhood and really the struggles of motherhood, and just some of the things that we go through. We just want to just talk through them. And again, just offer some encouragement from our experience, from Paris, from mine. I've been a mom 21 years now. Markeisha, you've been a mom how long now?
30 years.
You want to hang out? You're more than welcome to hang out with them if you would have joined it as well. I know Paris has been a mom for 20-something years as well. So
30 years.
Yes.
I have been a mother for 30 years. And let me tell you, it is a long time, and it don't stop. It
changes,
becomes
right?
something different. Yeah. It becomes something different. You move into more of a counselor kind of, guide kind of thing. I mean, you're already a guide, but you're not that disciplinarian. You have a different role.
Yeah.
And, I think one of the hardest things for me was to realize that both my children are grown women with grown women opinions and grown women, issues and standards and expectations,
And the best part is grown women money.
Right? Right. So, my girls are 30 and 25.
Yes, I'm 18 and 21. So I'm just transitioning from that. So where my 18-year-old is trying to figure out how to relate there, where you still want to have your hands in, but you can't always, and you have to have your hand out. So even parenting, we'll talk about it tonight, but parenting two different children, they're very different. So the ways that I parented my oldest, I can't necessarily parent my youngest, even
completely different. Night and day.
Yeah. So I feel like I pray more that they're grown than I did when they were in the house. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for me, adding another dimension, they're married women. My oldest is getting married on the 23rd of this month.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And so that's a different dimension that you have to add to it, and helping them, navigate that with life partners.
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, we're going to open in prayer, and we're going to bring out Paris, and we're going to get this conversation started. So bow with me, everyone. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for another month, another Mom's Night, and another conversation, Lord. We just, as always, you are so welcome here, and we invite you into the conversation. We just pray that you have full control over this conversation. Bless us, bless our guests for tonight. And we just pray that those that need encouragement tonight, you know exactly who's going to join, whether it's live or a rebroadcast. You know what they need to hear. So just allow the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart just to be acceptable in your sight and to be ministering to them. Bless all of our technology. Bless every word that's said, and just allow it to go forth as you would have it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Markeisha. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And if you could bring out our guest for tonight, and I'll see you later.
I gotcha.
All right. So I just want to say welcome to our guest tonight, Paris. Paris, we were laughing. I'm sure you heard us on stage. Paris has been trying to get online. Paris is at work. She is a nurse. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself, but she is at work tonight and trying hard to get on. but you made it.
I tried to use my work laptop and it said, Aunt, you can't use that website.
No, no. So we blocked for whatever reason we're blocked,
Yeah.
but welcome. And I think it's truly a testament of
Yeah.
what I was just saying. As moms, we have so much going on, and we try to make it all work, and we
Yeah.
figure out, right? We just figure
Yeah.
out how to make it work and how to do it. So welcome to
Thank you.
Moms
Thank
and
you.
Moms, and we're so happy to have you. So if you don't mind just saying hello to our guests, let them know a little bit about yourself, who you are, about your family, about your children, about what you do, and then we'll get started with our
Okay.
conversation.
All right. Good evening, faith-filled moms. My name is Paris Stahre, as Tanya introduced. I am a mom of three. I have a 25-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So there's a 13 and a half and a 16-year difference between the first and the second and the third.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's see. I work. I'm scheduled to work part time as a nurse, but I work full time. We all know that. I work full time hours. And my busy season with the boys has started. I have an oldest. She is 25. She's a girl, and the last two are boys. And the boys have taught me like that I'm not perfect, Patty. They've taught me a lot. They're very busy. They do lots of baseball. This is their busy season. And while I'm busy juggling work, the 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts for whatever I decide to pick up in between being a mom. So that's who I am. And good evening. Thank you
Yes.
for
Good
having me.
evening. So you said something very interesting. I'm going to jump right in. You said the
Yeah.
boys have taught you that you're not perfect, Patty. So I want to
And
talk to you about that.
so
And
let me let
mhm,
I said this a couple times a few years back, and when I say this to people, they look at me and they're like, "I just love your perspective." So I had my daughter at 21, a girl. I mean, I'm not. She was great. I mean, she listened. You say stop,
mhm,
she stopped. She did good in
mhm,
school. I got phone calls from teachers, and they were pleasant. It was, oh my God, I love this little girl. She's so great. She's this, she's that. It is not that way with the boys.
mhm.
Okay.
So you were different
Um,
perspective, right? You thought you were
and
doing something real. You had it
uh,
under control.
wait. I was like that mom where I think Bill Cosby said once, and I was a little offended until
Mhm,
after I had the boys. Okay.
mhm,
So Bill Cosby once said, if you only have one child, you're not parenting. You're not a real parent. And I remember me and my girlfriend years ago. I mean, India had to be about 5, 6 years old, real little,
mhm,
and maybe under 7, whatever. And I remember saying to my girlfriend Ayana at the time, I'm like, who's he think he is? I'm a real parent. As the years went on and as she continued to do well, and then she's 13 and a half, and 13 and a half, and I have these two boys. And yeah, I'm sorry, parents with
mhm,
one child. You're really not parenting until you get one more. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. And it's
mhm,
funny because Bill Cosby said, well, if you have one kid and the cookie is missing from the cookie jar, you know who did it. Because you only got one kid. And but what happened to me was, my brothers were having kids and I had India and she would listen and everything was perfect. And I would see my brother's kids and they would be disrespectful and talking back and I'm thinking they wouldn't go to bed. I'm thinking like, not at my house.
mhm,
Well, you
mhm.
know what? And I just thought I was doing a great job, right? Because I had a good kid.
You just had a good shit. Yes.
So I just was like, I'm doing great here.
Mhm,
These
mhm.
two jokers come along, okay? Bedtime is like, yeah, what? Go to bed when? They'll go to bed when they're ready to go to bed. They taught me that children do talk back. Children don't listen. And you are a good parent when you have a child who's considered bad, right? Because I felt like, what is going on here? These boys are just out of control. I love them and I kind of embellish it just a little bit, but I want you to understand there is a big difference between having one and having three, and at least having
Mhm.
two back to back. And so I got to the point where, oh, my house was a mess. That was the other thing. Like,
Mhm.
my house was
So it was
immaculate.
perfect before.
Oh,
Mhm.
oh, it was perfect. It was perfect. I won't even let people come over now. I'm so embarrassed, like how this house stays, because it's just not who I am. But I just can't keep up with the energy of the two boys. It
So do you
is
think it's
like
boys versus the girls then? Is that something to it, you think?
I think it is a little bit of boys versus girls, but I
Mhm.
also think it's a little bit of, honestly, when I had them, I got a little bit more laxed. I
Mhm.
wasn't as strict
Mhm.
as I was from the beginning, because I'm like, oh, they're boys, they're just being wild. But what happens is, if you don't correct those behaviors, I'm talking about very little one, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, 11 and 9 now, and I'm still dealing with some of the things that they do. Taking their time to get off the tablets, taking their time to go to bed. That didn't happen with India. It was like, my oldest, it was like, it's 8:30, you go to bed. Also
Mhm.
didn't have those type of distractions either, like back then. That
Yeah.
those things
Yeah.
were just starting to come into play. So I really feel like it was like, what happened to perfect Patty? I want perfect Patty back. Like, where's that perfect mom that was having this child, that was doing everything, that I was saying? Now, I'm not saying as she got older that wasn't a different story, but I'm just saying the time frame that I'm dealing with now. Her
Yeah.
at 11 and 9
Versus
versus
them at
these
11.
two at
Mhm.
11 and 9 was completely different.
And I've
Love them
seen
the same.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still I've seen that we parent like our kids don't have the same mom.
Oh no.
Even though we're the
Right.
same person, like we're like you said, you were a 21-year-old mom,
Yeah.
so a certain what 20s, 25, then maybe 28, 32,
Yeah.
all these ages, you show
Yeah.
up differently depending on how you feel, how your body feels, how you're doing at work.
Yeah.
All of these things taken in consideration. Other things outside of you might be dealing with other external issues, things, health challenges, all those kind of things really do feed into how you show up as a parent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at 21, I was about, like, it was hustling. I was finishing up nursing school. I was doing what I needed to do. I wanted to make sure that everything was in line. You're talking about having one at 21 and then 34 and 37. That's a
Mhm.
big difference. Now I'm
Mhm.
already established, right? I'm already established. I'm kind of way deep in my career, right? So those things are established. I mean, I did go back to school while I had the boys and finish my master's, but my career was pretty much established.
Mhm.
So I didn't have those type of stressors, and the financial stress wasn't really there. But also too, now you got two, so you do for one, you got to do for the other. So it was a little different, but my focus was different at 21, and my energy level was different.
Mm.
So I could stay up all night, 21, or probably all the way up until about 30 something, right? You can stay up all night, do what you need to do, then do
And
schoolwork,
still
go to
get up the
work,
next day.
and still
Mhm.
get up the
Mhm.
next day. You can't do that now, right? So even if I'm trying to finish up or clean, or make sure things are ready for the next day, I got to go to bed by 9, 10 o'clock. I can't stay
Yeah.
up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So your body's different, your mindset is different, and financially, sometimes you're a little bit at a different space than you were, and then spiritually, sometimes you grow. Sometimes as you get older and you go through things, and honestly, I think the things that I've went through in parenting, believe it or not, that's one of the things that have humbled me,
Wow.
was parenting two more kids. Because during the time that I was parenting the first one, and I, single, and you say single, but I mean, her dad was pretty much involved in
Mhm.
her life, but there's different
Mhm.
levels to single mom that I'm sure we could talk about. But I feel like my mindset was completely different at 21 and 37
Yeah. Yeah.
with these boys. So, um, that alone makes you parent differently. Some stuff I'm like, I don't give it what they don't want to go to bed. Don't go to bed. I'm tired. You know, but I didn't do that with her. If she didn't want to go to bed, I made her go to bed. Right.
Mhm.
So with them, if there's certain things they don't want to do because now I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm
Less
I'm
important, right? Things are less important than
it, listen, you don't want to go to bed, you'll just be tired in the morning. But
Mhm.
I cared more than I do now about certain things. And when you have a second and third child, the things that you cared about with the first child, you don't realize that it really doesn't matter until you have the second one, or until you go through other stages. So there's a lot of little differences and parenting, your aging, your style, all that plays a
That's
factor in
interesting.
how
That's
you parent.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you said that, I'm like, but I think there's certain ways that we do with our oldest versus the youngest. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
same way, very much stricter, I think, with my oldest versus my youngest. But now I do see other things in terms of maybe responsibility level or other things with that
Yes.
stricter behavior that now shows up. Like, oh, I probably should have done this, or I was lax on that, or yeah,
Right.
just you kind of lax on, on certain things. That
Well,
first one,
well,
you want to be perfect, you want to do all of these things, and the second one, you're like, yeah, but there still is. I think there still is some benefits to being strict, to having that order. But again,
oh,
you feel like I'm tired. I'm not going through that again.
oh, well, India was doing. My daughter was doing her laundry at 8. These
Yeah.
boys are 11 and these boys are 11 and 9. I can't get them to fill up the laundry bag, right? She was physically doing her laundry at 8. By the
Mm-hmm.
time she was 11, 12 years old, I was hands off.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
I could be hands off right now. My middle was 11, and I'm still like doing that. I'm like, what did I? Perfect Patty done messed up.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm.
done, she went wrong. So, definitely lots of differences, and I stand on parenting. Pretty much humbled me. I mean, I was like self motivated, always did what I was supposed to do, and this second go around really humbled me. Sometimes people go through life and they have those humbling experiences.
Mm-hmm. This is one of
These-
them.
thi-
Mm-hmm.
this was that. This is definitely. I'm not talking about that mom in the store anymore. That's not
I'm not judging
controlling
any
me.
moms. I was one to judge moms too. I am not judging any moms
If
at
the
all.
kid turns out bad, I'm not saying it's the mom.
Listen, if they run out in the street, I don't care. That you listen. If you don't want to run after them, it's okay. Whatever. Like I hope they're safe, but I'm not judging you.
Don't judge them because you don't know what they're
That I
going
don't.
through.
They don't have the energy. They may not have the energy. So I did
Exactly.
see a comment from Tashia. So hey, Tashia, she's one of our Faithful Moms alum as well. I think for premature birth she was on, but she said she had a different interesting point. Do you feel like the boys show up differently for their dad than you? Do you feel like there's any difference there in terms of
No, no.
how they
I
respond
mean,
to mom versus dad?
Um, no, I feel like they respond slightly different. Like if
Mm-hmm.
he is asking them to do something, because obviously sometimes that authoritative male figure
I say
comes
the deep
along
voice too. I thought the
and
deep
it's
voice
like,
does something as well.
what did your mom
Mm-hmm.
tell you to do? And I got to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, my 11-year-old is a sweet, he is such a sweetheart. He is really a great kid. It really is the 9-year-old, but the 11-year-old at
The baby,
times.
right? It's the baby.
Yeah, because to be honest, he will not listen to my husband, but my husband does this thing with the 9-year-old because the 9-year-old is attached to my husband's hip. So we
Mm-hmm.
always say he has one and I have one, right? Because the 11-year-old is kind of more mom, but more like, I don't want to hurt dad's feelings either. But the 9-year-old, he don't care if he hurt my feelings, but that's okay. But I do feel like having my husband there does, I mean, that does make them listen a little bit more. But
Mm-hmm.
if he's at work and he's not at home, they don't have that fear when dad comes home. They just really don't. They don't have that we had when we were growing up. It was like
Yeah.
I
I'm
had
gonna
my
tell your
mom all
dad
the
when you get
time.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if
Mm-hmm.
if if if, if Kato came home, we knew. And if mom said, "I'm telling dad," you was hiding. Like you didn't even come out when he came home at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
big difference. Yeah. So great comment. Thank you.
Good, good. I want to ask you a question. Going back to single mother, your
Yeah.
motherhood as a single mom, talk about your support system. So if we have someone out there, maybe somebody's watching a show who is struggling with support and is like, I'm doing it all by myself. I have a coworker, same way. Like she's just like, there's no one else. It's just me. How can people build a village or build a support system to be able to help navigate through a season where they feel like it's just them and they don't have the support?
Well, there's a couple things that I did, and this day and age, I don't know that it is the best advice, but honestly, I used to befriend the other moms, right? Because I
Okay.
knew that I worked 7A to 7P. And there was going to be times when my grandmother couldn't watch them, or my mom couldn't, pick her up from the bus, or whatever the scenario had been, and partnering up with my, work, not work, but more like my church family and things like that. I always made friends with other moms, right?
Okay.
Because I knew that I was going to need some help at some time. Now, I did have a little bit of an advantage because, I only worked 3 days a week back when I was raising her. So I didn't work every single day. However, what I would do is I would find, this is how I became friends with my girlfriend Ayana. I would find moms that I would see that would be Monday through Friday. So I would be like, once we, got a little close, oh, I could pick her up this day or that day. So then when I needed
Yeah.
something, I had that support system. I'm not saying that's the best advice nowadays because you never know people, but I became friends with people at my church, people at the school, the after school programs, those type of support, and I leaned on like family and friends. That's basically how I got through it, because I always saw, like, if I could become friends with one of those moms, I see she's home every night, I might need that extra support. But I also will say, during the weekend support, I did have her dad. It was mainly more that Monday through
Through Friday.
Friday. That was definitely a little bit more of a challenge, so to say.
Okay. Yep. And I saw
So
Tashia put up again, Mocha Moms was a great support group. So I didn't know they were still out. So Mocha Moms must still be out as well. So another great support group, or different mom groups as well. And I
yeah,
think for me, I just tried to do everything by myself. I tried to be super
yeah,
mom and
yeah,
do all that. I don't know why I didn't ask for help. Like, I asked my family for help, but I don't think I
yeah,
asked friends. I felt like I was being a burden on a friend. And saying that, I would be there to help if another friend needed. Of
yeah.
course I'm there to help. And we talked about this plenty of times over the years in our show. As women have gone to different things, some women just really do have a hard time asking for help, even when help is being offered.
But
We
I
still
think you got to look at what's making you stressful. Cause I got to be honest, I agree. I was like that too, but I also knew I worked 12-hour shifts. So I knew I couldn't pick my kid up from school. So like I'm 7A to 7P. So I knew I needed some help on those days that I worked. Like
yeah.
I had no choice because I didn't have a job where I could do it all on my own. So I had to look for the help. But I really encourage women that feel like that, really take a look at what that's doing to your body
And
when
the
you're not
why,
asking
right?
for help.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
think for me it was pride, right? And then I'm the
yeah,
one suffering just because you can't accept help. And I think even now
exactly.
I'm to the point that I'm learning how to accept for help and assist. Like, even when I go out to dinner with friends, it would be very hard to let somebody pay for my meal. Like,
Yeah.
God. And now I'm
So,
like, okay, you want to bless me? Sure, sure. So it's like now people want to bless me, do something for me. I have to let them. I have to
and on the
let them.
flip
So
side, sometimes people really do want to do that. So when you don't accept the help, it's kind of a little bit offensive, because
hmm,
they're not looking, because that's just how I am. Like, I'm not looking to do it sometimes, right? And for return, right? I'm looking
yeah,
just to do it
just to
because
bless
because
somebody.
because I want to help. I mean, now at this particular point, the way I work and the way I have my husband, I'm like, we're the both of us are pretty much able to do most of it on our own. Like, we
Hmm.
rarely ask for help at this point, because now we just figure out what shift needs to be switched, who needs to leave at this time. So, we work it out amongst ourselves, but we definitely still need some help from here and there. And I'm not ashamed to ask anymore. I don't have too
Yeah.
much pride, because when you start opening up and talking about how hard parenting is, I feel like sometimes we don't talk about it enough. And women just struggle, and they just get up every day and they do it every day, and they're not
Yeah.
talking about it. When I start sharing my stories, people are like, "Oh, like, I've went through this, I've went through that with the kids." And my one son he never slept. He didn't
Mm.
sleep through the night until he was about 5. And there was
Wow.
times I would come to this job and I would be up for 48 hours. In 48 hours, I may have slept 4 hours, because he just didn't sleep. And now I'm a walking zombie, but no one
Yeah.
knows that.
Yes,
Like,
that's a struggle, right? Not having like just a consistent
that
overnight
sleep.
rest, and then having,
Yes.
yeah.
For 5 years, this kid woke up. I'm not saying I didn't have some nights in between, but for
Hmm.
5 years, this kid got up in the middle of the night. So that's important, because that can really, really mentally and physically stress you out, not getting enough sleep. So we got to ask for help. We definitely have to put that pride
Yeah.
aside. We have to put that aside, and we have to ask for help.
And I think with that same way, we can also seek to help others. As you're talking, I'm thinking about
Yes.
the mom who maybe has a child who has an illness, right? A mom
Yeah.
who's having to go to the doctors quite a bit or stay in hospitals quite a bit. We've had, guests that have shared that as well. And just saying, they would have loved to have had help. And so sometimes even we as moms see other moms and parents who may need help. And it's important for, I think, us to show compassion
Yeah.
to be able to offer that helping hand to someone as they need it as well. So knowing that we were once in a position or may still be in a position that we need help, when we see someone else that's in help that needs it, we should be offering that to them as well.
Absolutely. And having a child with the like any type of special needs or additional services and things that they may need, that's the stress in itself. Because that's a 24-hour constant.
Yeah,
You really don't get a break unless someone physically comes and relieves you. So definitely something that we should, consider helping those, other parents when those, because I mean, I know my son struggles with some things, my 9-year old, he struggles with some things, but I'm able to get some relief. Just so you know,
yeah,
I am able to get some relief from him. But that is when you're dealing with something, mentally or a medical condition or something like that. As a parent, that's stressful in itself. So we definitely could seek help others that way as well. So
absolutely, absolutely, great point. So I
yeah.
want to talk. We talked about it initially. I want to talk about a little bit more raising children with different personalities. Right? We have
Ooh.
children with different personalities, different temperaments, and even a different learning style. So you have to even do homework with some
Oh,
children differently, right? So talk about learning each of your children again, how some ways that worked with India didn't work with your boys necessarily because they're again different learning, different personalities, different temperaments.
oh.
How did you manage to do all that?
I think I'm going to say the biggest word is patience. Patience
Uh,
and trial and error. You have to see what works for each kid. Let's see, my oldest, you didn't need to beat her. All you had to do, well, I know we're not talking about just that learning stuff, but just learn them. I'm just going to give an example. She did her schoolwork, right? She did her schoolwork. She took the help from me. She accepted it. We studied. We did what we needed to do. She got good grades. You really didn't need to yell at her. You could threaten her with a belt and you're good to go. She's off and running. She's listening. You go to number two, absolutely not. Beat. Absolutely not. That made him worse. He didn't listen. My boys don't get any type of beatings. They do get yelled at. But you have to learn each individual one. Like me being yelled like aggressive
mm-hmm.
with the middle one doesn't work. You have to be soft with him. You have to give him time to respond to you. You have to give him time to allow him to answer and do things when he's kind of ready. You push too much, he pushes back. Now, my last one, oh, you got to be on him. Like you got to be right up on him in order for to get the job done. Also, he's also very smart though. So you also there's not a lot of coaching with him, so to say, with
Mm-hmm.
certain things because he thinks he knows everything. He's 9, which blows my mind that he does. So I feel like for me, that big it just was patience and learning each one, learning their needs and meeting them where they were at. I can't parent all three of them the same.
The same way.
You
Mm-hmm.
just can't. My daughter, I feel like she acts more like the middle child than the oldest, and I feel like my 11-year-old, he acts like the oldest.
Okay.
But the difference, what I try to explain to my husband is the reason why he acts like the oldest is you got to remember he is the middle one. But by the time he got to kindergarten, she was already out of the house, going to school, doing
Yeah.
what she needed to do.
So he really
All
was
he
in that.
knew,
Yeah.
right, all he knew was to take care of the little one.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she didn't know how to, like, it wasn't a natural instinct for her to take care of someone. She didn't have nobody behind her
All that time she was
for
growing.
13 and a
Yeah.
half years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get my 11-year-old, he naturally just helps. He naturally just gets it. He goes to the car. He gets the bags. Like he just naturally just, mom, is the door locked? He's like my right hand, right? Because he's had to help with someone else, right? Because he's 2.5 years older. And I feel like for my middle child acts more like the oldest, only just because I feel like he had someone under him, where she had me,
To
being
herself.
that.
Yeah,
Right,
all
to
to herself all
herself.
that time.
So, and that took a little while for me to understand that perspective. But I really think I've come to the conclusion that that is why he is the way he is, because he is almost like the oldest, but he's not, but he is almost like the oldest because she was out of the house by the time he
Yeah.
was 5 years old. So,
Yeah, I think about that even in my parenting. I always studied the kids or my girls,
yeah,
right? I studied them, studied how they moved, what they liked, how they learned, what their likes were. So I made it like kind of a project for me to get to know them and be able to support them
yeah,
individually and uniquely. But I think one of the things that you said is just even as they grow older, right?
yeah,
And learning how to uniquely support each one. How
yeah,
and mine will keep score. Well, you didn't do that with her. Mine
yeah.
will tell you to the year you let her do this, and this year you didn't do that.
And you're
And
like, what?
you're like, I didn't keep it, but they know. Well, how come she got her ear pierced? You let her do
Right,
this, you let her to do that.
right,
So where I'm thinking I'm just adjusting with each of them, but they are
right.
comparing us
And
how we
what
treat
you're
one, but
thinking,
not.
well,
Go
you're
ahead.
thinking like I'm adjusting, I'm learning, I'm getting better. Like, wait, let me ease up a little bit. Let me allow
Mm-hmm.
this one a little sooner. And then
Mm-mm.
next you know, it like backfires. And I remember saying to my daughter, like it's a 13 and a half years different. Are you seriously?
Compare, but they remember.
You're
They remember.
comparing the 11-year-old and 9-year-old to what you were allowed to do or
Yes.
what you received as a holiday gift. It just blows my mind that she
Yeah,
even
yeah,
thinks about it.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Isn't that funny? Counting how many Christmas presents each of them got. You got to make sure they got to have the same number. It doesn't matter how much it costs, as long as they have the same number of gifts.
your gift could be $1,000. This one's $200. You're
Mm-hmm.
counting the gifts.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
wild.
I only got
They
two
do
things, and
that.
they got five. Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right. So you got to
The
keep
joy
everything
of
the same.
motherhood.
Yes, yeah.
So I want
But
to
I
talk to
will
you
tell
about
you,
you. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
no, I was gonna say I will tell you. The funny thing is I always say like my 11-year-old is like the oldest because he always comes back, and even if it's something that might not have been so right or so equal, he'll come back and say, you know what? I thought about it. I think you tried. Like like
Good job.
I know. And I'm looking at him like, I tried, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he does always kind of come back and like acknowledge what you did,
He's
even if
insightful.
yeah, yeah, very, very much so. I
That's
mean,
a blessing.
this is the
Yeah.
kid that watches the Harriet Tubman, like all types of like the historical movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Very sensitive. I love it. I
yes,
love it.
very, yeah.
So speaking of, I know we spent a lot of time talking about our kids, but speaking of
Yeah,
motherhood, I want to talk about you
yeah,
as the mom showing up. And again, we do go through a lot of different stresses that come from life. So motherhood is just one part of who we are.
yeah,
So you're married, your wife, so you have to deal with your marriage. You got to deal with
yes,
finances, your work, like you said, you're a nurse and having long shifts, your health, all these
yes.
other things. Like we're human beings and we have just regular human being things in addition to being motherhood. So talk about how what are ways that you balance your motherhood with different life stresses that you may experience in life.
So that's very interesting because I haven't 100% figured it out. I
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
recently started getting back to myself.
Okay.
And the phrase is probably not appropriate for this show, but it's one of those, nix them kids type thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you have to say it in your mind. You
Mm-hmm.
really do, because they sometimes they consume everything that you do. So what I've noticed, what I've done now is like I'm like, wait a second, I have to take care of me, even if it means I'm not coming straight home after work. I'm taking an hour to myself. I want to drive
Mm-hmm.
around the neighborhood and talk on the phone for 30 minutes
Not
before
going
I get
anywhere, just
uh,
driving. Mm-hmm.
just driving. right? Think, my self-care monthly routine, things like that, things just that I like to do. And taking a step back, and sometimes we feel like we got to show up to everything, every single thing that they do, even when it like causes stress on you. I remember
Yes.
2 years ago when the boys first started playing travel baseball, and I mean, I'm working. We're going through some financial things, so I'm working. My husband's not working as much, but I'm working all these different shifts. I'm showing up to the games. I'm sleeping in the car. I'm bringing the like, do they realize how much of a sacrifice this is? I just worked a 12-hour shift overnight. I'm gonna get off at 8 o'clock in the morning. Your game starts at 11. I'm gonna pull up to the field before you pull up to the field, and I'm gonna sleep in the car for 2 hours just so I won't miss the
Wow.
game. Those are sacrifices that you make, or for those couple years, not really doing things for yourself. We have to get out of the mindset because they grow up. They're not going to
Yes.
be this age forever. Hence, the 25-year-old. You have to take a second, even if it's for a minute, an hour. You have to take a second for yourself and figure out what's the best way to do it.
That's a great point because you talked about self-care, and I, as you're talking, I'm like, but that's not really taking care of ourselves, but that's something that we would do. But I think both of
Right.
you and I, kind of where we are now, that we're very reflective of the way we showed up. Like same thing, I didn't miss any games
Right.
throughout high school, but now that mine's in college, I'm like, yeah, I can't make it, and I'm growing okay with that. Where before, I think it'd have been a struggle, but it's like, yeah, I just can't make it, and I hope you do well, and I'll be praying for you. And
Well,
it's
because
like
you will stretch yourself too thin, and then it's like, now what? Like, now you can't mentally
you're not
and
showing up your best
physically.
self, right? You're not
Right.
even showing up your best
Right.
self. Like like just even your example, sleeping how many hours? That's you're not able to show up as your best self.
Exactly. Exactly. So you really have to take a second, and lots of times I do, and I think I told you this, that drive to work, that prayer in the car, that was
Hmm.
like a mental like decompression, the drive home, just mentally, just listening to the music or not listening at all, and just mentally just getting into your connection with your spiritual connection. That helped me tremendously. And then I can show up for them at that moment. But it's something you
Yeah,
consistently have to do. It's not something you can do sometimes. You consistently have to do that.
let's talk about that. And in terms of we stay on this self care topic because there's different components of self care. So we have
Yep.
physical. So are we sleeping?
Yep.
Getting
You
the recommended 7 to 9, 7 barely for me, but I remember, I think even on this show, we talked about it. We were like a bunch of moms. I think we were on probably a panel, and we're getting 4 and 5 hours of sleep. And every night we're texting each other, like, how much did you get? And we weren't. But now, a couple years later, I'm hitting six and a quarter, maybe 7 hours sleep.
oh,
It is a difference. But I can remember that it was just life going on that I wasn't getting more than 5 and a half, 6 hours. 6 hours was a good night.
and
But
I think you
realizing that
have
I
to.
had to go ahead.
You're just gonna have to do it. Like I
Yeah.
all those years that I wasn't getting sleep. Now I'm to the point where like you have to
Non-negotiable,
do it.
right?
It's not
Non-negotiable.
negotiable. I
Yeah.
love my cousin Tiff. She actually every night she's in the bed by a certain time because she just has to have her. If nothing's done,
It just
she's
doesn't get
going to
done.
she's
I'm
going to.
hoping I get there. I have a friend that I knew like after 8 o'clock, don't even call. She's not going to answer. She really was going to sleep, and I'm always like, I wish I could be like that,
Oh,
but
I
I'm
like
moving
that
towards that.
idea.
Yeah, she would not answer, and that was just something that I knew she would never answer. She'll respond early in the morning, the next morning, but at 8 o'clock, that was her bedtime.
That was it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, that's actually not a bad way to be sometimes. Sometimes I don't know if I could do that every day, but I could do that some days.
Yeah, but it's a practice, right? It's
Yeah.
going to the gym. Got a membership. I got a membership to the gym. It's like try to get there 3 days a week, possibly
Right.
4. But those are for me now ways that all throughout, while they were here, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't necessarily eating well or exercising, all those things.
Right.
But now that
Right.
I want to be intentionally practicing self-care, those are things that I am implementing. But talk more so about your spiritual connection and spiritual self-care. How did you stay spiritually grounded and connected to God, through all the motherhood challenges as well?
I'm going to tell you it was a challenge. because there was, because it wasn't just the motherhood challenges, it was the challenges of, you know, not, I mean, of course, the single period with India, I think I was a little bit more connected, to be honest. And then once I got married, I noticed that the focus shifted in the beginning, and it really shouldn't have, but I just got so frustrated with feeling like the beginning felt like, okay, wait a second, I'm married and I'm single, because I'm still doing all this, right? We talked about this a little bit. I'm still doing all this and I'm married, and I'm thinking like, well, where's the break come in, right? Because like now it's supposed to be two, and you feel like the load's supposed to be lighter, but for the longest time it felt like it was heavier, right? So even though, and honestly, who brought me back to making sure that I relied on God, I stayed in prayer, was one of my best friends. Was one of my best friends, Tamika, always calling me, praying with me together, making sure that I pretty much stayed grounded in that, and not forgetting that I'm going to be able to get through everything that I was going through, because it wasn't just the parenting. It was the challenges of a new marriage as well. Sometimes we forget to add that in there. When you go from single to married and you already have a child, there's dynamics right there, right? That you have to deal with. So I think just having people that, like your friends, that kept me there, and then just me on my own. Like I said, my car ride was my spiritual connection, because I wasn't sleeping at night, right? So my car ride was my spiritual connection. And I think me, at that time when I was younger in my marriage, and even the singlehood, staying connected to my church was also one. And now I think it's a little bit more of a challenge, because we are like trying to find a church home and things like that. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. And now you got three people you got to bring along. Well, four people you got to bring along instead of one. So it was a challenge. But to answer your question, you have to stay connected when you can stay connected, and don't forget that. Like I said, my car rides sometimes before bed at night. And then just my conversations with my friends sometimes will be prayer conversations, uplifting conversations. And it may not be like a simple answer, something that somebody can write down and copy, but that's something that worked for me.
Yeah. And I love that. I just saw a comment from Sahani, and Sahani, thanks so much for joining. She is joining us from Canada, so we're international tonight. But thank you. That's great. That like the discipline, and I think like even you're saying, sometimes for me it's discipline that I've got to wake up even earlier than I want to, because I want to make sure that I'm spending time with God, right?
Right.
So I planning to get up even earlier in the morning, but I think the technology, do not disturb, like putting your phone on do not disturb, and maybe plugging it somewhere so that you do have that time at night or in the morning. Don't go to your I think I lost you, apparently. Don't go to your phone first thing in the morning.
Right.
Maybe that first 30 minutes as you're up, that you're not answering, that like not taking any phone calls at all. So those are different things that you can put into practice, to be able to have that time, right, for yourself. And my last question, looking at the time, we have a couple more minutes left. So I want to ask you a question about even praying for your children. Like, so in motherhood, that's one of the things that we need to do, is definitely pray. So talk to me about how you pray for your children. And what are ways that we can encourage moms to pray for our children?
When I pray for them is when I get them to pray. I get them to pray with me, because I want to hear what they want to pray about. Like I want to hear their
prayers.
like their prayers. So and their prayers, their struggles, whatever they want to pray from God, for God. So what I do, and not so much with my oldest, because she does have her own connections and things like that. But with the younger two, I pray with them specifically, because I want them to hear me praying for them, right? Because sometimes they say, "Oh, I know my mom prayed for me." Well, I mean, yeah, you see it sometimes, but they hear me praying for them, and that's something that's important, because we're not often in church, right, with their sports on Sundays and things like that. So I want them to hear me praying for them. So those are some of the things that I do with them, especially before bed at night. One of the things that I'm doing now with my youngest son, Isaiah, is we're praying at night because he's having some struggles, and a couple of so everything was a couple of nights ago, but this might have been about a week or two ago. We're praying, and he starts crying. He's like, I'm struggling, Mom, and I'm trying to do better. So this is why I like the fact that sometimes I do that prayer with them, because I can hear what's going on with them. So they open up sometimes when they see me praying about some things and praying for them, and then they feel comfortable enough to open up. And he did that night. He was comfortable enough to open up with what he was struggling with, and we prayed about it. And we're trying to work through some of the things that he's struggling with. So for me, that works.
I love
Praying.
that. You just gave me an idea now, even for me to especially when your child is in a season of struggling for
Yeah.
something. We prayed for them all the time when they lived in our home. But
Yeah.
again, now that they're gone, I don't pray. I pray for them, but I don't pray with them because they're away at college. But maybe even during the season, maybe okay before I go to bed, just call and say, just want to pray
Yep.
over you, or let them pray. So I'm gonna actually call one of my children tonight.
Well,
And
listen,
we're gonna pray.
my
Yeah.
oldest does it with me more than I do it with
Yeah,
her.
I love that. I love that. That's why we say, like, this show is for our guests, but it's for me. I always learn and take something away, even for myself as well. So that is one thing. But in that same way, like we had ours pray. It was important for
Yeah.
me that they knew how to pray once they left us, right? So
Right.
having them pray out loud, and they don't always go, oh, I don't want to pray. Well, just go ahead and just do it anyway. Just
Yeah.
being comfortable praying out loud, because I want them to be able to pray for themselves when I can't be there
Absolutely.
to pray. There's
Yeah.
times that, yeah, can you pray with me? Yeah, but there's sometimes you may call and I can't always answer the phone. And I need you, if you're in a situation that you need to be able to pray for yourself and cover yourself as well. So
And I
I,
like that. I like that a lot. And I even say to the boys when they first were learning how to pray, and it was even funny because my husband added to it, and he would just say, talk, just have a conversation, just have a conversation with God, and that makes him a little bit more comfortable, right? Especially like they felt like, well, I don't know, well, just have a conversation, just like you
yeah.
pray before your food. You ask your teacher for something, ask God for something, you ask me for something, right? And just teaching them how to do that. So I do appreciate what you're saying about the kids and the prayer and wanting them to be able to do it on their own, because I do feel like my daughter sometimes calls me up and like, I just want to pray with you. So
So
I
yeah,
do like
sometimes, were
that.
you busy? I just want to pray. And I love
Right.
also in that we're also teaching them about their Heavenly Father, right? Where
Yeah.
we can introduce and present him in a way that he's their Heavenly Father. And you can pray for help, but you can ask for what you want. Like
Yeah.
he wants us to even ask him for what we want, what they need. So to encourage
Absolutely.
them that yeah, absolutely. Not saying that every time you pray it should just be like a wish list, but even get
Right.
in the habit of knowing that. So when God does answer your prayers of whatever you prayed for, that that he does hear you,
Oh,
and that
absolutely.
you know that you can go to him on your own for those things as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was
Oh, you're
great kind
welcome.
of just talking, just
Yeah.
kind of this mom talk, right? Just this
It,
connecting. So a lot of times we don't have it as moms. Like a lot of times we
right.
don't have just the mom to mom connection to be able to just share of what our experiences are, what we're going through. And again, what are best practices or best habits that you have, and things that we
Right.
can kind of just share with
And
each
just share
other. So
different perspectives, because sometimes as a mom, like you sometimes you don't know if you're doing this right or doing that right, and sometimes it ain't about right or wrong, it's just the way you did it, and the outcome came out like that. So just sharing different perspectives, I think, is one of the biggest things that we could do for each other as moms, so that we understand. Because once I started to open up, I'm like, you go through that too? Oh, I didn't know. Oh,
yes.
this is what we deal with. So I do
But just
think it's
having that
important.
conversation, right? Just having
Yeah.
that conversation and being able to share. But I think, like you said, it's important that no, I'm not on my own. It's not just me.
Right.
I'm not the
Right.
only one struggling. There's others. There's others out there as well. Then, well, what did you do? What did you? How did you heal? How did you handle this? How did you,
Exactly.
address this? So I'm
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
away again. So for me, I'm gonna again pray. I'm gonna call my child. We're gonna, pray regularly when they go through things. So that's my one takeaway. So I hope everybody watching has had a takeaway. I hope you've had a wonderful evening. And I see Ethel is joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. So welcome as well. And I see Victoria is on, and Keisha is on from DC as well. So I appreciate everyone. And Sahani said, thank you so much for sharing, Paris. And so Sahani, we may have to have you on. We have to have you with the reach out, connect her. She's a fellow writer. She writes with me with Guidepost Magazine. So I'm so excited to have her on. So we may have to have her come and share her story as well. But yeah, so I hope everyone has a takeaway, just one small thing. If it's maybe even going to bed, if it's turning your phone on do not disturb, not answering, getting that sleep, doing that self-care.
Hey, listen, don't pull up in the driveway when you
drive around. Take the long way home. Take the long way home. Stop down the street maybe and finish that conversation. But I think in closing that we have to take care of us. There's a saying, we hear all the time, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you don't have a self-care in practice, whether it's physical, are you eating, are you exercising, are you sleeping? Is it mental? Are you reading? Are you, do you go outside and walk? Do you get massages? Any of those things that just focus on you, that you can have a couple hours off from being mom to just be me and just focus on me. So that's encouraging. And that way you can show up your best self when you do have to. You can miss a game. That's another thing. Friends of mine, you can miss a game. It's okay. They're gonna be okay.
They'll tell you missed one game, you ain't never went to it.
So we could have had this conversation 20 years ago. If I could have heard somebody else having this conversation 20 years ago, that might have changed some things for me. But again, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So again, everyone, we will have our final show of the season on May 5th, that first Tuesday in May. So join us. Talking with Marquisha. Maybe we'll have a Where Are They Now and invite some of our past moms from past seasons to come back and just join us and give updates. So we'll let you know. Sign up if you have not already. Sign up at faithfulmoms.org. Leave us your email address and we will email you when that show is ready. You'll get the direct link, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, to join us. But we're so thankful that you joined us tonight. We hope you heard something that just encouraged you and you're able to put into practice. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. And bye, Keisha. I see her. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.